Our story follows a girl who lost both her parents at a young age. Her mother passed away while giving birth to her younger brother, and soon after, even her stepfather left them. With no one to care for them, she and her brother Hee-Joo ended up in an orphanage. Life hasn't been easy. Hee-Joo is sick, and she works part-time every day just to pay for his medical bills. But even with all the struggles, she hasn't given up on hope, even if her dream feels like nothing more than a wish. We see her sitting in a car with an older man in a suit. He says whenever he sees his daughter-in-law suffering, he wonders what Kyung-hee, her late mother, must be thinking in heaven. She softly replies that Kyung-hee must be proud of her. The man, whom she calls Chairman Yu, tells her he wants to get her a single-room apartment, but she refuses, saying she'd feel burdened if he keeps doing things like that. He laughs it off, telling her to forgive his nonsense. But in Hee-Joo's mind, she wonders, if she hadn't accepted that unexpected kindness from him, would things have still turned out so tragically? Then we flash back. A young man confronts her, showing a picture of his father, Chairman Yu. He accuses her of trying to take advantage of him. Shocked, Hee-Joo tells him he's insulting not only her but his father too. But he fires back, saying all the women his father has ever been involved with look like her mother, Kyung-hee, the only woman his father could never have. He calls his father an old man obsessed with women younger than him and tells Hee-Joo she's no different in his eyes. Furious, he tells her she's been enjoying his father's kindness for too long, and now she has to face the consequences. From that moment, everything between them spirals out of control. She doesn't even know when or how things went so wrong. Did Chairman Yu truly love her mother? Or was it just an obsession that ruined everyone around him? Maybe it's because the son looks so much like his father, or because Hee-Joo resembles her mother so much. No one really knows. The man's inner thoughts reveal the truth. Living under the same roof and waking up beside her, that's the price she has to pay. Whether it's anger, guilt, or obsession, they've both fallen into emotions they can't escape or even understand. At the restaurant where Hee-Joo works, her coworker tells her to go change the grill on table 3. When she gets there, one of the guests, a man known as Director, smiles when he sees her and says it's been a while. He asks her to pour him a drink, and she politely agrees, saying it's been ages since he came by. He laughs, praising her for being so respectful, unlike most young people these days, saying the new workers should learn from her. She smiles, pours the drink, and excuses herself, but inside she tells herself she has no choice if she wants to keep this job. The headquarters of Samoo Group isn't close by, and their visits have been happening more often. She wonders if the restaurant owner paid them to come like the other ladies were saying. After her shift, she tells her boss she's heading home. Outside, a black car is parked in front. She sighs inwardly. He's here again. Chairman Yoon rolls down the window, telling her she's working so hard even late at night. He offers her a ride, and though she insists he doesn't have to, she gets in. He asks if she's eaten dinner properly since she looked so busy earlier. She laughs, saying a rumor must have spread around Samoo Group that their restaurant is great for company dinners. She doesn't mind, though. Being busy makes time go faster. Chairman Yoon agrees, but reminds her to take care of her health. No matter how hard she works, she needs proper meals and rest, otherwise she'll suffer when she's older. He adds that she should have a warm, comfortable home of her own. Hee-Joo knows what he means. He probably feels sorry for his old friend's daughter living in a small rented room. When she turned 19, she used the little support money she got from the orphanage to rent a tiny room for her and Hee-Joo. Her dream was simple, to work hard and live happily with her younger brother. But that dream was shattered when Hee-Joo was diagnosed with osteogenesis imperfecta, a rare illness that makes bones fragile and easy to break. Her mother died at 30 giving birth to Hee-Joo, and their stepfather, unable to handle it, abandoned them both. Since then, Hee-Joo has raised Hee-Joo all by herself. To keep him healthy, she needs a lot of money for treatment, and that's when she first met the Mister about a year ago. Back then, she was paying off debts, sleeping at bathhouses, and working part-time jobs. The man said he was her mother's old friend from their hometown. When they met, he called out her mother's name with tears in his eyes, and Hee-Joo cried too. maybe because she'd never properly mourned her mother. From his car, his suit, and his watch, it's clear he's wealthy. He could easily buy her a small apartment, but she doesn't want that kind of help. The world would only judge her. She's content with the way things are. He visits her restaurant sometimes, buys her a meal, and drives her home. That's more than enough. She thanks him for always being kind, and he looks at her quietly, thinking about how much she looks like her mother. Before she leaves, he gives her some money, telling her to buy herself a nice meal, and she smiles, saying she will. Meanwhile, at Chairman Yoon's house, his son returns home and finds the maid cleaning up broken pieces of a celadon vase. He asks if his mother threw things again, and the maid says yes, but not at anyone this time. When he asks where she is, she says Madam is resting in her room. He sighs, saying his mother is overdoing it again, then asks about Daniela, their assistant. The maid explains she went to the hospital and asks him not to be too hard on his mother. He walks into her room and finds her lying on the sofa. He gently asks what's wrong and mentions Kyung-hee's name. But she instantly yells that she doesn't want to hear it. Furious, she says his father is seeing another woman again. Her son sighs, saying she should be used to this by now, but she insists this time is different. He's serious about this one. She hands him some photos. In them, his father is with Hee-Joo. The son frowns, thinking the girl looks way too young to be the woman his father's involved with. But his mother shouts that the woman his father loved long ago is dead, and that this girl is her daughter, the daughter who looks exactly like Kyung-hee. She says, "Your father finally found that girl." Chairman Yoon's son stares at the photos in disbelief, thinking how disturbing it all is. His mother, furious, shouts that his father has completely lost his mind, that he's probably planning to start a new life with that young woman. She says while they've been living in misery because of him, he's out there chasing after a girl who looks just like Kyung-hee. The son looks again at the pictures. There's nothing romantic about them. No hugs, no holding hands, nothing that shows affection. He quietly asks his mother if she's really sure his father is cheating, but she snaps back that if he's spending so much time with a girl who looks exactly like Kyung-hee, what else could it be? Inwardly, the son sighs. The shadow of Kyung-hee has haunted his mother's entire life. She's been comparing herself to that woman for years, even after Kyung-hee's death. If it were just a random pretty girl, his mother wouldn't be this angry. But because of the connection to Kyung-hee, she's lost control again. It's the same story repeating itself. Endless arguments, endless pain. He wonders, is this really an affair? When he looks at her calm smile in the photo, he can't tell what emotions are behind it. He doesn't see anything special about her. She looks ordinary. So why does his father look at her that way? Maybe this strange fascination runs in their blood. The next morning, Hee-Joo's alarm goes off. It's time for Hee-Jun's hospital visit. She goes to the hospital, pays the bill, and walks into his room, smiling as she hands him his favorite snacks. Hee-Jun is lying in bed with his leg in a cast. The nurse explains that he tried to get up at night to use the bathroom, but lost his balance and fractured his heel. For most people, that would just cause mild pain or a twisted ankle. But for Hee-Jun, whose bones are as fragile as glass, even a small fall leads to broken bones. He can't run or play like other kids. A full recovery isn't possible, but he still tries his best during rehab. Hee-Joo gently tells him the nurse said he'll need to use a catheter at night from now on. He frowns, embarrassed, but she reassures him softly, saying it can't be helped. It's just to keep him safe. When he nods and agrees, she praises him for being so brave. Later, on the bus ride back, Hee-Joo starts thinking. She wishes she could buy Hee-Jun a phone. Even though the orphanage helps with some hospital fees, she's still struggling. Among all the kids in his room, he's the only one without a phone, yet he never complains. On his birthday, on Children's Day, on Christmas, he never asks for gifts. He just smiles and says nothing, probably because he doesn't want to worry her. He's only 10, yet he acts more mature than most adults. She wonders when her little brother stopped acting like a kid. She'd give anything to see him throw a tantrum or cry like other children, anything to know he feels safe enough to just be a child again. When she arrives at the restaurant, one of her coworkers rushes up to her, saying someone's here to see her. an executive from Samoo Group. He's young, handsome, and looks like someone important. The coworker teases her, saying maybe he's the reason the company's employees have been visiting their restaurant so often. Curious and nervous, Hee-Joo goes to see who the visitor is, unaware that the man waiting for her will change everything. Hee-Joo walks into the restaurant's private room, wondering why a man like this would come looking for her. Her heart is pounding for no reason. It's just a customer, right? The man sitting there, Yoon Dam-hyun, looks up and says, "Why are you standing there? Come in." Embarrassed, she apologizes and steps inside. He gestures to the food and drinks he brought, saying he bought them for her, and she politely suggests they talk comfortably. Dam-hyun watches her quietly, thinking that maybe he really does have the same taste as his father. Her uneasy expression almost looks like she's hiding something. When she keeps standing, he tells her to sit. She sits nervously, thinking how strange this silence feels. After several moments, he suddenly asks if she knows who he is. She replies that she only heard he's the executive director of Samoo Group and thanks him for visiting their restaurant so often. Then, out of nowhere, he asks if she likes older men. She freezes, confused. He keeps going. Has she ever been in a relationship? Is there someone she's seeing privately? She's completely lost, wondering what kind of questions these are. She apologizes and asks why he's asking her this, and that's when he brings up a name, Yoon Dae-joo. She shakes her head, saying she doesn't know him, and asks what this is all about. Dam-hyun shows her a photo across the table. It's his father. The moment she sees it, her mind goes blank. The man in the photo is the same Mr. she's been seeing regularly. She saw him just yesterday and the day before that, and every week for months. So his name is Yoon Dae-joo, and he's the chairman of Samoo Group? Then that means this man in front of her is his son, Yoon Dam-hyun. Dam-hyun smirks, saying, "Looks like you're starting to understand." She frowns, saying she's not sure what he means, and he bluntly asks if she's in a relationship with his father. Shocked, Hee-Joo raises her voice, saying that's ridiculous. He's insulting both her and his father. Nothing like that has ever happened. But Dam-hyun leans back and says, "So you're going to deny it to the end?" She stands up, saying she'll leave if he's done talking, but he snaps, "Sit down." She clenches her fists, thinking how rude he is, but he doesn't stop. "I'm not finished," he says, and she tells him to hurry up. He insists again that she sit, but she glares at him and stays standing, saying he should just say what he came to say. Dam-hyun tells her that she must know his father has been unfaithful more than once. She says she has no reason to know that. He laughs coldly, saying she should at least lie better, but she insists she's telling the truth. Whether he believes it or not doesn't matter. He refuses to believe her, asking if she never once wondered why a huge company like Samoo Group keeps coming to such a small, plain restaurant. Why do their employees use their company cards there all the time? Who do you think made that happen? It was all his father's doing, all because of her. Hee-Joo says she didn't even know he was the chairman. She only knew him as her late mother's childhood friend. Dam-hyun laughs harshly, saying, "A man in his 50s searching for an old friend after 10 years? Do you really believe that?" She says whether it makes sense or not, it has nothing to do with her. But Dam-hyun slams the table, saying it has everything to do with her, because his father's obsession with her mother has destroyed their home. Every day his mother cries, every day their house is filled with anger, and she dares to say it has nothing to do with her? His voice drops coldly as he glares at her, saying, "No, I won't let you say that." Dam-hyun has spent his whole life walking on eggshells around his parents, always worrying about their moods, their fights, their secrets. Every bit of chaos in his family, every sleepless night, always traced back to one woman, Hee-Joo's mother. And now, seeing the same shadow hanging over his home again, he's reached his breaking point. Fuming, he snaps at Hee-Joo, asking how she can say it has nothing to do with her. His father is obsessed with his first love, her mother, and now he's chasing after her daughter. How could that not concern her? Hee-Joo, holding back her anger, asks what he expected her to do. Should she have turned away when someone was mourning the dead? Is having a first love such a crime? Her mother is gone. It's all in the past. But Dam-hyun only grows more furious. He reveals that his mother's real name was Choi Soon-hee. His father made her change it because it sounded too much like her mother's name, Choi Kyung-hee. Every woman his father ever chased looked like her mother. He says just thinking about it makes him sick. How does she think he feels watching his mother suffer again and again? Hee-Joo quietly says she truly didn't know, but he cuts her off, accusing her of lying, saying she smiled at his father, rode in his car, and accepted his money. He asks if she even realizes what kind of man Chairman Yoon is, a man so controlling and obsessed that pity isn't in his nature. "Are you really that naive?" he sneers. "Or just pretending?" Inside, Hee-Joo feels crushed. She's worked so hard to live decently, to never step out of line, but his words make her feel tainted, like all her efforts meant nothing. Dam-hun leans closer and says that because of her mother, his entire family has lived in misery. She answers quietly that it's unfortunate, but she has nothing more to say. He tells her to stop pretending. Just tell him what she wants. Money? Favors? What is she after? She says nothing and turns to leave, but then he mentions her brother. He asks if she's struggling to pay his hospital bills, saying he heard she's relying on donations. He smirks and says she probably doesn't even know who's paying those bills, that his father doesn't care whether her brother lives or dies, because unlike her, the boy reminds him of nothing. He calls Hee-Jun a burden. That's when Hee-Joo snaps. She grabs the teacup and throws it in his face, shaking with rage. "There are things you should never say," she yells, but Dam-hyun just wipes his face and smirks. He tells her that from now on, he'll cover all of her brother's medical expenses, because his father won't. She says she doesn't want his money, or his father's. He says her brother's surgery will cost a fortune. She'll beg for help eventually. She says no, she'll work for it. They may be poor, but their life is theirs, and they're happy with it. Dam-hyun grabs her hand tightly, pulling her closer. "Happy?" he scoffs. "Your brother could lose his life any day, and you call that happiness? No money, no home, barely surviving. That's not happiness." His voice hardens. "If you really want to save him, stop pretending to be proud. Whether it's through charity or by using what you've got, do something." Hee-Joo glares at him, disgusted, and tells him to stop. But he just says coldly that whether she admits it or not, his father is already involved with her, in the past, now, and in the future. She shouts no, but he's too far gone, saying he's tired of watching his mother break down every day, tired of being the one to hold her together. Then, with an expression that shocks her, he says something unbelievable. "You'll marry me." Hee-Joo freezes, staring at him in disbelief, not sure if he's serious or if this is just another cruel twist in the nightmare she's trapped in. If you're eager for the next chapter, drop a comment expressing your interest in a part 2. Don't forget to subscribe and ensure to hit the notification bell to stay updated. Until next time.